Okay, today we're going to take a stock Cub Cadet 106. We're going to cut and channel the frame so that it will allow to install a V-twin Kohler engine in here. I've had a lot of people ask me how I've done this on my past tractors. So today will be part one of the build, and you'll get to see firsthand how I do it. There's different ways that other people do it, but this is what works for me. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to come in here. We're going to knock the roll pin out of our front axle, remove that pin, and also take the bolt off of our drag link for the steering, drop that down, and remove the front axle completely. After that process, I will be making my cut straight down from this mark. I'll go ahead and grind off all of this old paint. I'll put the marks on there, and I'll explain to you after a short break exactly how I came up with those dimensions. As you can see, I took the front axle off. I pulled out the pin that holds it in. This pin, the roll pin, didn't knock out. I had to drill this one out, which you'll have to do on occasion. Just replace it with a new roll pin. I've dropped the drag link on it, so I've just got a clear frame. I've gone through and ground down the old paint. And the dimensions that I was talking about are right here. Right off of the front of this, I made a straight line down with my speed square. Transferred that onto my material. And I measured down from the top of this front rail 1 3/8 of an inch. Now when I take my grinder and cut this frame completely in half, this top line will then come down to my mark here at 1 3/8 inches. I will clamp it together and weld it back. Just a few of the tools that I've been using along the way that you'll need, pretty simple. You'll need your grinder, of course, with a metal cutoff wheel, a speed square, clamps, tape measure, welder, possibly a cordless drill, and most important, about a dozen of these. I'm going to go ahead and get busy. I'm going to get this cut on both sides. I'll cut the frame completely in half. I will get that clamp back together, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what that looks like before I start to weld. Okay, I got the frame cut completely in half, dropped it down. Now I've got it clamped back up. If you see, this is my line from 1 3/8 from the top of here, which came straight across before I cut it. Now when I drop this front half down, I line it up perfectly with that 1 3/8 inch mark. And as you can see, I've got it clamped back together on both sides and ready to weld. Generally what works best for me is to use adjustable jack stands to be able to work that out to make sure that you get a nice tight fit there. Another way to check to make sure that it's straight is to run a straight edge down this line and make sure you've got the same measurement from your straight edge up here as you do back here. So we're going to go away for a second and I'll get this welded up, and then we'll come back and show you a couple of other things. This welded up where I showed you. So the top of our frame that we dropped down is even with this line. Also, you can see I've got the motor just sitting in here. At this point, we're way off on our drive line. Our starter's sitting up on top of the frame. So I've free-handed here and come down 1 inch and scribed out around the starter. This will start at this factory notch, approximately 5 inches from the front. You're going to take 1 inch out of there, and I left about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of room here so that you can slide the motor forward or backward to get the clutch pins in for a final assembly. So I'll pull this back out of there. I will get this cut out. And also up here you can see that I drew a line straight back to the starting of the tower and then across. I'm going to cut out this triangular piece. I will then take this top piece, fold it down, and weld it across here so that we don't have this step. It will just be a nice gradual rake there. So I'll go ahead and get that done, and then we'll come back in a minute and I'll show you with that stuff together. Okay, as you can see, I've cut out where I showed you. I scribed for the starter. You can see that coming down underneath the starter. The motor is now sitting down flat where it will be in the installed position. The front of the block is going to be 4 inches from the front of the frame rail. 4 inches will be the front of the block right here. Then as you come back here, you can see I cut out the triangle that I had marked where this came across flat. I bent this down. I will now clamp that and weld it across here. And if you'd like, you can take the piece that was cut out from there and use that down here to weld it in to give you a nice rake frame. What I like to use is a piece of angle iron, so not only does it come out, it also goes across, so I can weld it across the bottom, both sides, and it fills in that gap. So then when this is all done and the metal work is ground down and the body work is done, it's a nice rake all the way through. You can see right here the drive line of our engine to the drive shaft here, how closely that is lined up. It is good here as well as the top, and there is a little bit of play in that clutch so that you've got a little bit of room there. So that will line up very easily with the clutch pins when this motor goes in. As you can see, I went a little bit farther on the front so that if I need to pull this engine out after it's installed, I can simply slide it forward. At this point, you're ready to put on your flywheel, put your clutch and everything together and ready to mate it. Also, you want to take a Sharpie, go down through your mounting holes of your engine block, make your 4 holes on the frame and drill those out. Your front 2 will be in the axle compartment just like the originals were, close to the same spot there. So you will want to go ahead and get that bolted on before you put that front axle back on. And I will get this welded up. I'll get this piece welded in and we'll come back in a minute. See that I've gone through. I've got everything welded up and ground down. I've cut out for the starter. And I cut this out, bent it down and welded it. I took the piece out of there, welded it in underneath. I just threw a little primer on so it wouldn't rust. As you can see, this is all ready for body filler. Along the way, I've filled in a few of the holes. Some of these that I won't use on the puller. Good a time as any to fill them in. And again, you can see how we're lining up. And if you come over the top and look down, you can see that we've got a good line up there as well. And in the next segment, I'll show you how to redo the front end to attach the grille and hood so everything lines up and you won't have to cut it even if you have the taller aftermarket aluminum valve covers. I learned that the hard way on the last one, and we'll go now and take a quick look at that last one so that you can see what the finished product looks like, and you'll get to go through the tractor room. So this is the first one that I built that way. As you can see down here, I've got all of the holes filled. This frame is raked out. That's what the body work done. I did these on the fly. I had to do them really quick just to put this cover on, but I'm going to redo these so that it looks a little bit better. Some of the folks leave that flat and just weld in a piece here so that they don't have to do this. You can do it either way, whatever works for you. Also, on this one, I came up 5/8 of an inch on these bolts to raise the grill so that everything would line up on the hood. You can also weld another piece in there and take it up the whole 1 3/8 if you'd like. It all depends on how you want that look. If you do weld a piece in and take it up 1 3/8, then you don't have to cut the hood up here to clear those aftermarket valve covers. And you can see on the other side, same thing over here, cut out for the starter. And again, this was my first one, so I was a little cautious on it. I overcut it just a little bit, but it worked just fine nonetheless. Same thing here. If you weld a piece on and go up the full 1 3/8, you will not have to cut the hood to clear those valve covers. So next time around, I'll show you how to install that hood and grill where everything lines up, and also how to do the fenders and the body metal to cover the big 26-inch tires.